The book of Psalms, chapter 58 and verse 3. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, all glory, all praise to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, Bahasham, Rakah HaKwadash. I want to give double honors to my apostles, my bishops, my elders, a great millstone. I want to give double honors to the high priest elders that taught those men. Salutations to you brothers that are presenting your bodies as a living sacrifice, pushing the gospel of the Lord Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, through the four corners of the earth. And to you believers, the Akim and Akwathian, to you I say Shalom. Again, this brother Bon Malak out of Great Millstone Camp, Austin, coming at you with this quick lesson. And I'm reading out of the book of Psalms, chapter 58 and verse 3. Because we know that the wicked on the planet Earth would be the so-called self-professed white man, woman, and child. They are the biblical Edomites that the Bible speaks of, and they are the physical counterpart to the spiritual demon Satan, that nation of people. And again, the book of Psalms 58 and 3, and this is the mindset and the characteristic of the Edomites. The wicked are estranged from the womb. The nation of Edom are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. As soon as they be born, they're going to be speaking lies. And this is a characteristic that's going to stay, a trait that's going to stay with them for the rest of their lives while they're on planet Earth. So anytime an Edomite mouth is moving, you know that he's telling a lie. And again, you're going to have chocolate-covered Edomites, and you're going to have Edomites that are going to look like that are Edomites, but their seed line go back to Jacob. So this is not a black or a white thing. This is a nationality thing. But for most cases, most of the Edomites, they will be what? Red colored Americans. And not just Americans, but wherever they so-called Edomites, they call themselves European, they call themselves, they call themselves, they might say that they from Europe, they might call themselves German, they might call themselves Russians, they might call themselves a whole list of nations. But if they seed line go back to Esau, Edom, they are what? The Edomites. And they consider themselves to be what? So-called white. And that is a social construct. So again, what I'm going to call fair use on this video, fair use. And this is what you have your so-called leader of the free world. And he said since the war started in February, he said that the war was over. It was going to take 3 weeks for him to win this war. They said 3 weeks to 3 days or 3 weeks to win the war. Now here we go. We're almost 6 months into this war, and it's still they're still fighting. And Esau Edom is claiming victory. And yet he's asking Iran to come down to the round table for a peace talk, a ceasefire. If you already won the war, why are you asking a country that you already defeated for what? A peace talk. That's why I'm reading out of Psalms 58 and 3. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. And let's go to this video. And again, we're going to call fair use fair use. I'm not making any monetary gains off this video. It's only used for educational purposes only. And here, again, you got Nero sitting there. He got a white shirt on. So that shirt is white. His skin is peachy red. They're the biblical Edomites. And the lady to the left, her skin is brown. She what? Different shades of brown. She would be an Israelite. She's not black. So that black-white thing is a social construct that Esau Edom, when he came, if he was going to be white, pure, square dealing, law-abiding, you Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans are going to be black, void of light. What else they said? You can get that in the old Malcolm X movie, dark, void of light, pretty much what? Dangerous, sully. Scully, however they said it. So let's listen to this video. He's saying that they won a war, and but yet they still begging Iran to come to the round table for a peace agreement.
They want to sign it as much as I do or more.
President Donald Trump on Thursday said the United States and Iran could sign a peace deal as soon as this weekend that would reopen the Strait of Hormuz. But Iran says no final decision has been made. Iranian media reported Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Baghai as saying that large...
And Iran, when the war started, when the first time they asked for a peace agreement, Iran gave Babylon a list of demands. They wanted 800 million. They wanted all those sanctions that were lifted off, all sanctions lifted off their country. They wanted America to take their troops out of the so-called Middle East, which is Eurasia. So they gave them a list of demands. But if you wanted war, none of that. You don't even have to put that on the table. Be like, hey, y'all lost, we won. And furthermore, if you won the war, you'll go ahead on and open up the Straits of Hormuz. The other countries wouldn't be coming to Iran to see if they can pass through. They would be coming to the so-called Babylonians. But yet the other countries are still asking Iran for passage. Matter of fact, they're even paying Iran for passage, safe passage through the Straits of Hormuz.
Parts of the text under negotiation have been finalized, though Tehran would not budge on core demands. Speaking at the White House, Trump told reporters,
We just made a great settlement of the war with Iran, and we're going to be subject to finalization of documents, which should get done over the next few days. We'll probably have a signing maybe in Europe.
And has the Supreme Leader approved this deal, sir?
I understand the answer is yes.
the president's announcement came after he called off planned military strikes on Iran, citing progress in talks. Oil prices fell to around $89 a barrel on the news, as traders reined in fears of further escalation after tit-for-tat attacks. In recent days, a U.S. Apache helicopter was shot down, prompting new American strikes around the Strait of Hormuz. Iran hit back with...
You hear Nero said they don't deplete it, the Iran military, yet Iran is still bombing the hell out of Israel over there, Haifa. They dropping missiles on Haifa left and right. That's why you got a media blackout of what's taking place over there in Israel, because Iran is doing major damage. So for them to say, Nero been saying that they don't totally decapitated, Iran's military, that's just a lie. Psalms 58 and 3. This whole lesson can stay in Psalms 58
missiles and drones targeting U.S. bases in the region. Trump says any agreement must block Iran from developing nuclear weapons, something that Tehran denies pursuing. Iran's demands include the lifting of international sanctions, the release of billions of dollars,
and tell them you got a peace agreement. We can stop it there. Let's go to it. And this is just a headline on pbs.org. It says Nero has raised expectation that this time he really will close deal with Iran to wind down the war. Why you got to wind down the war if you already won the war? See? And that's why Rockefeller said we want a nation of workers and not a nation of thinkers, man. Because here in America, Babylon the Great, no one have critical thinking skills. You can continue to bullshit the press. You can continue to bullshit the Babylonian people and tell them you won a war. Well, they can bullshit Esau, Edom, the so-called self-professed white man, woman, and child, because they gonna believe what their leader said. Even at the lowest level jakes, they understand that the war is still going on. You can't tell Jake that the war is over if you're still fighting the war. See, then again, you might not, because we're telling Jake them we're in the middle of a war right now with Esau, Edom, and they'll tell you that Esau, Edom is not their enemy. But that's the mindset behind Jake. Jake on a low vibration. When I say Jake, I mean you Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans. Y'all operating on a low vibration because y'all don't know that y'all have enemies. And Esau, Edom, the so-called self-professed white man, woman, and child, is your enemy. You just had the Carmelo Anthony thing that just proved that Esau, Edom is your enemy. They gave him an all-white jury, an all-white judge, Mr. the Judge. Everything in that trial was white. But also that Carmelo Anthony have to understand, like the Lord, he told us that whoever take vengeance on Cain will he gonna punish him sevenfold, 7 times. So that's the mindset that Jake have. That's a spirit on Jake. We understand that the Lord put that spirit on us to he says it's my determination to come and destroy Esau, Edom off the earth, not yours. I'm gonna do this for y'all. But y'all gonna have to suffer at their hands, man. And Esau, Edom, the so-called self-professed white man, woman, and child, what they're a proud nation of people, man. They're a proud nation of people, and and the Lord Yahweh Shah protected them, for this time, cause He's gonna destroy Edom. Because we know in the scripture it said two nations, Genesis 25, we just read that last night. It said 2 nations are in thy womb, 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and one people shall be stronger than another. We know that we're stronger than the nation of Edom, the Edomites, the so-called self-professed white man. It would be easy for us if we really, if Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai wanted us to conquer them. It'll be easy for us because we're a stronger nation than them. But that's not the case, man. Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai put them what? He put them, as their what? The whipping stick, against Esau, against you Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans. A lot, yeah. He using Esau as what? His sword against you Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans. And he's a sword against the whole earth. He's the enemy. This white man, this devil, is an enemy to the whole earth, man. That's why, we desire the day of the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. Because he got to put this dog down, man. And again, Trump is raising expectation that this time he really will close a deal with Iran to wind down the war. Psalms 58:3. He don't gathered the press 25 times since the war started and telling them that they won the war and that he got a peace agreement, and neither time have they had a peace agreement signed by Iran. Let's go to the book. Matter of fact, we're gonna go to the GNTD. It said a wise ruler will educate his people and his government will be orderly. All the officials and all the citizens would be like their ruler. See, and we have the Rockefeller said what, man, we want a nation workers, not a nation of thinkers, man. So let's look up this word educate. And we know educate means to bring out what's already in you, but we're going to look it up in Google. Educate is to develop the mind, character, skills of a person through formal schooling, instructions, or training. It is a broad process of imparting knowledge and fostering critical thinking and guiding individuals to understand the world and their place in it. See, school is to have you to think critical. Here in America, Babylon the Great, because you have the lowest school system, educational system, especially for you Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, on the planet Earth. So everyone lacks critical thinking here in America, Babylon the Great. Because if someone told y'all that it was going to take 2 weeks, 3 days to 3 weeks to win a war, and the war is still going on, and you're still buying into the fact that they won the war, that means you lack critical thinking skills. That means your mind is not developed. And that's the mindset of Esau, Edom, the so-called self-professed white man. They're supposed to be high IQ people. So when your leader tells you that you won a war, you should be like, okay, well, why haven't we got the spoils of war? Why are we still mobilizing troops to go fight a war? Why is Iran still controlling the Straits of Hormuz? Those would be critical thinking skills. Why would the media continue to muster every time this guy having a press conference and ask the same question? When is the war going to be over? When you said we won the war, why are we still fighting the war? You see? Because the Babylonians, they lack critical thinking skills. Because even though they got these degrees, they are the lowest comprehension skills are based on maybe a 3rd or 4th grade level here in America, Babylon the Great. Let's look up victory. Victory, it says, is the successful overcoming of an enemy. When you won, matter of fact, it's an opponent or struggle. That's what victory is. Hey, man, you don't won the war. That's victory. Now I can go in and I can take everything that I want. Now I control the Straits of Hormuz. Now, I'm not asking you to come down and sign to the peace table and sign a peace agreement. Shit, I don't need you now. I'm gonna just put you in shackles and we're gonna put you in war. We're gonna say now you're a war criminal because you don't won the war. That's the definition of victory. Let's look up this definition. Let's look up won, the different definition of won, W-O-N. Won has two primary meanings depending on how it is used. Past tense participle of win, to achieve victory, succeed in a contest, or gain something through effort. No, hey man, you won the war. That's what he said, man. We achieve victory. We achieve victory, and yet you're still asking a nation to come to the round table for a peace agreement. Why? Because you Babylonians, y'all lack critical thinking skills, man. You lack critical thinking skills. Matter of fact, let's go to the scriptures. No, it says a country is defeated when its leadership issues a form of surrender. Iran, they haven't issued a surrender. What they did, they released a list of demands. They said we want 800 million. We want all those sanctions lifted off us, and we want you, the so-called Americans, out of the Middle East. That was their list of demands. So if you won, why you coming to a round table asking for what? A peace agreement. It says military capacity is completely exhausted, when yet Iranians, they are bombing this shit of Haifa, Israel over there. That's why you got a media blackout, because they doing major damage. Yet Nero said that he don't decapitated, the Air Force, the Army, and the Navy over there. It said its military capacity is completely exhausted, or its territory is successfully occupied. And they don't have no troops on the ground, because what? They can't even get troops into Iran. So how can you win a war? Psalms 58 and verse 3. The wicked are estranged. Matter of fact, and this is not a long lesson, the wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. See, speaking lies. Let's go to the book of Isaiah. We'll close it out here in the book of Isaiah. The book of Isaiah, chapter 14 and verse 10. And the other nations are looking at this and they saying, damn, America, Babylon the Great, they don't have that killer instinct in them any longer. They catching hell with them Carmanians. They catching hell with them. We don't know what they gonna do. It said, the book Isaiah 14 and 10, all they shall speak and say unto thee, the other nations, they saying, damn, they watching this real closely. It said, all they speak and say unto thee, are thou become weak as we? The other nations saying, damn, Babylon, are y'all becoming weak as we? It said, are thou also become weak as we? Or thou become like unto us? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave. The arrogancy, their pride is brought down to the grave, the hell. And thy noise of thy vows, that psalteries, hey, America, we're the greatest country in the world. We got the strongest military on the earth. That's that psalteries. That's what that's saying. That's what the other nations hear. Man, America got that great military. But now they looking at it and saying, damn, they can't even open up the Straits of Hormuz. It said the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. Hey man, look, y'all been down to the grave. Now these worms on top of you. Y'all done. That's what the other nations are looking at, especially North Korea. You got Russia, China, they looking at this, Japan, like, oh yeah, look at them. Yeah, they low now. They can't conquer Iran. And eventually all those nations going to turn against America, Babylon the Great. And they going to what? They going to destroy America off the face of the earth, man. Babylon the Great, they going to shoot those thermonuclear missiles over here. And it's going to destroy America. It's going to be burning as a sign for what wickedness look like. This place where our captivity, where the Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans served their captivity at here in America, Babylon the Great. So I pray this lesson has been edifying. I want to give all honor, all glory, all praise to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rikah HaKwadash. I want to give the double honors to my apostles, My bishops, my elders, a great millstone. Double honors to the high priest elders that taught those men. Salutations to you brothers that are presenting your bodies as a living sacrifice, pushing the gospel of the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah through the four corners of the earth.